So a lot of people get very excited about elections. I think you know that. One of the things that people have been excited about in the aftermath of the 2020 presidential election is some of the uncertainty associated with the challenges that President Trump has made about the integrity of the election process, about the two upcoming Georgia Senate runoff races on January 5th that will control the outcome of the United States Senate and therefore a certain amount of the control of the total government, including whether or not the Democratic Party would have the presidency, the House, and the Senate. But the fact is, what markets like is falling uncertainty. They don't like rising uncertainty. The fact is, once you have a presidential and congressional election beginning in November, you move through a process where you immediately get some decreased uncertainty. We know what the votes are for Senate and outcomes of Senate races, and now all states, let's say, but that set of Georgia runoffs. Most congressional races, as I speak, there's still, depending on who's doing the defining, 5 to 7 House seats in the House of Representatives that haven't been called yet. They will. But all this moves eventually toward falling uncertainty. It maybe moves a little slower sometimes than others, and with the January runoffs, it moves a little slower now than if those races had been clear right after the election. But we keep moving toward falling uncertainty. That's inherently bullish for stocks. Stocks love falling uncertainty, and this time I think they particularly like falling uncertainty because we're moving to a Congress that, whether the Republicans have control of the Senate or don't, with the Democrats having control of the House, the margins of victory in both chambers are as weak as you could possibly make them. This Congress will be able to do very little in the way of big legislation. It's a form of gridlock which will reduce the uncertainty of the outcome of the election beyond the election itself. And so therefore, I think that's actually pretty positive for stocks. It just unrolls with these two Senate races a little more slowly until we get into January. But all of the concern about things like President Trump's challenges against Mr. Biden's victory, all of that gets sorted out pretty darn soon in the greater scheme of things. And as that happens, all of that uncertainty fades away, and it all is good for stocks. Subscribe to the Fisher Investment YouTube channel if you like what you've seen. Click the bell to be notified as soon as we publish new videos.